Hello again, my name is Veronica from Punkfish Diving and Punkfish Academy, and in this small video we want to talk about the MOD, the maximum operating depth for a given nitrox mix. So why is this so important? The MOD, the maximum depth for our mix, is actually the most important number we have when we dive with nitrox, because we want to be sure that whatever we breathe, we use it on a maximum partial pressure of oxygen of 1.4 bar, because we want to avoid the risk of getting an oxygen toxicity hit. We are very safe if we respect the limits, but in order to be safe, we have to know these limits. And this is why I think it's a very good idea to be able to at least estimate where about this depth must be with a certain mix, so there are no surprises, or no one can just tell you something completely different and you don't realize how wrong this is. Don't assume that others know. Check yourself, okay? So when we look on how this is displayed in the manual, unfortunately, it looks a little bit complicated. But no, it's not complicated at all, because we remember there was this thing about Dalton's diamond, and the thing about the relation between the total pressure and the fraction of a gas and the pressure of a gas. And now what we are looking for here, when we look for the MOD, the maximum operating depth, we look for a depth. That means we look for a pressure, an absolute pressure, that is the maximum where we can breathe a gas, our gas. So we just have to bring the pressure at one side and everything else to the other side, following our Dalton's diamond. And this gives us that we will find the pressure we are looking for when we divide the gas pressure by the fraction of the gas. We know that we want to go to a maximum of 1.4 bar. This is a number that we know. And we know something more because we define it. We did just measure our tank and found out, oh yes, I have a nitrox 32, EAN 32. And then we know the 0.32 fraction as well. And when we know these two numbers, we just have to do the calculation. And honestly, take out a calculator for this. I don't do this in my brain. But a calculator does the job very, very well. And we get here to 4.4 bar. When we have this pressure of 4.4 bar, we subtract 1 bar for the atmosphere, come to 3.4 bar, and then 3.4 bar times 10, because every 10 meter is 1 bar, gives us 34 meters. So our maximum operating depth for this would be 34 meters. Now, your turn. Get your MOD for a nitrox 36 and just write it in the comments before reading the comments, or just do it on your own. Just laugh about it because you know this already. You can do this for any nitrox mix you measure. So when you get a mix, and for example, let's say you asked for a nitrox 32, and now you check it and you find out, oh no, it's a 33 and not a 32. Well, no worries. Normally, mixing is not that easy to do, and it can end with 1% more or less oxygen than what was intended. That happens. Now you have two possibilities. You can just adjust your MOD and just stay a little bit shallower, Or you might return the bottle and ask for a new one if you want to go so deep that with this mix you would already be over 1.4 bar of PO2. You might just decide to return the tank and take another one. What makes sense to remember is once you got through these calculations, it's nice to remember some of these numbers. And for me, it's a little bit like having the 28% nitrox still allows me to dive 40 meters is something that's easy to remember and easy to calculate, because like for some of us, if we see this 28 and we see this 1.4, there is something about, okay, this works very nicely together. One is 5 times the other one. Some of us see this, others need a calculator. It doesn't matter, you can use a calculator, that's why we have them, okay? And then because it's a nice round number, I like this 0.4, like a nitrox 40 as well, because this is the limit of your nitrox certification. And you should know a lot to be able to use a 40% nitrox, because a 40% nitrox reaches the MOD already at 25 meters. So very likely you're certified for 40 meters and you want to do some deep dives from time to time, but with this mix you cannot do them. This mix is to stay shallower, to enjoy a long, nice dive at 20-25 meters, but not for going any deeper. So this is a good thing to remember. And then we have one logical thing as well, which is the nitrox 32. Maybe some of you know that there's like a smaller nitrox certification that just allows you to use a nitrox maximum nitrox 32, and you don't switch your computer, you don't tell your computer what you're doing. It's like the first nitrox certification. Why specifically a nitrox 32? Because it's still the perfect gas for 34 meters. Most dives are done around 30 meters and shallower. So the deeper dives are very, very uncommon. They are done, but like they are not the average dive everyone does every day. And then like even if people fail to understand and do things a little bit wrong, they still just get to 1.6 bar at 40 meters, and they will not stay for long at 40 meters. So the risk that something really goes wrong is still very, very controlled. While with the nitrox 40, that requires the higher certification, you get into a critical area already inside the recreational diving limits. So if you forget some important things, you might end up with real big problems. So we want you to know a little bit more when you take this higher percentage of gases. If you want to make your life really, really easy, in your download area in My SSI, you will find this table about your maximum operating depth for 1.4 bar and as well for 1.6 bar, because some of you will do decompression dives in some moments where this comes in handy. Yeah. You can use this for sure, and it's very easy. But like honestly, for me, opening the calculator on my mobile and just quickly calculating 1.4 divided by my nitrox, by my oxygen content, is so much faster than opening the table, that I just do it with my calculator. And when you do it like 3, 4, 5, 6 times, in some moment, you don't have to think about it anymore, and it becomes really, really easy. I will put a link to register in My SSI in the comments, because you have this download area even if you don't have an SSI certification. So go and get whatever is useful for you. It might help you.